can see, I've got pretty good coverage. I think there's a couple bare spots in there. I got a little bit of a situation going here, and I'm hoping this product's going to help me out, or at least bail me out. What started out as a Sunday afternoon project has turned into like a real project. These are the factory rock sliders off of Angela's Jeep. You can see it's got a little bit of rust going here on the ends. And what I was trying to do was clean this up and repaint it just to make it look somewhat decent. And this is what I got into right here. See all that rust in there? I realize these aren't real rock sliders, but they came with the Jeep and they're actually in pretty good shape, and they're fairly stout for what they are. Although we're not going to Moab, Utah to do some rock crawling. We are going to be probably crawling over some snow banks and some ice chunks and stuff like that. And so I want to keep these on the Jeep to kind of protect the side. They were starting to show a little rust around the end, so I thought I'll take a scuff pad and I'll sand them down a little bit, maybe put a little rust converter on them, and then paint them black, and that just turned into a whole project. When I first took them off the Jeep, I was pretty surprised on how heavy they were. Turns out they were filled with rust, mud, and water. That's what added the weight to it. So once I got all that emptied out, I actually put it in this 5-gallon bucket, and I filled it up about quarter of the way with just rust and stuff. And I didn't even record it because I didn't think I was going to turn this into a video, so I'm kind of backtracking here a little bit. Once I got the end caps off and looked inside and I realized everything was pretty corroded, I was trying to figure out what to do. I've used rust converter before, and from everything I've read, this is supposed to be the best, the Eastwood internal frame coating, and it's got some rust converter. It comes with this 24-inch hose that goes on here. So the other night I had this piece of aluminum angle iron, and I stuck this in there and scraped it out, put this wire brush on the end, and helped me bust up some of that rust. So my plan is to take this Eastwood frame coating, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to insert it, coat the inside of this. It's kind of weird that this even happened because there are drain holes in these things. I guess after 10 years New England winters with salt, I guess it's bound to happen. But with this hose here, we're going to be able to get a lot of good coverage. Oh, God. All right, everything was going good, and then that tube got plugged up. I don't know if I just didn't shake it enough or what, but I got some on me. It's a good thing I had gloves on. I'm wearing a little bit on my leg. We got some on the floor. This is what the can looks like. Now, it did come with a couple of extra sprayers, so I am going to be able to spray from the end of the tube in, so we'll get it coated as well as we can, and let me do that and I'll be right back. So the sprayer seems to work okay, but that hose, I don't know what happened to it, but it plugged up, caused this thing to back up, and I got black stuff everywhere. I do think I got a good amount in there before it happened though, so let me get cleaned up a little bit and I'm gonna get a flashlight and we'll check it out. What a mess. I got myself cleaned up. I probably still got some on my face, but a little paint thinner and cleaned up pretty good. It's amazing how bad that hose clogged. I mean, there was a lot of pressure at the top of the can. Anyway, let's see how we did. So as you can see, the light is on. Very little reflective light in there. We can't really see in there. The light's not bright enough. I can see I missed a spot on the top here. I'm going to try to get that. Make sure we got some good penetration. Whoa, look at what just happened back here. So I just turned this one and it dripped all over the floor. So we definitely got some good penetration. I basically got a mess on my hands. This is not a how-to video. This is how I did it, which clearly buggered it all up. I'm gonna put something down on the floor. I'm gonna clean that mess up. What a mess. Let's talk about what you just witnessed. The frame coating. When you depress that button for the spray nozzle, it puts out a lot of product, as evidence of all the coating that's dripping out on the floor on the other end of the rock sliders. I basically ran that long nozzle down both ends of the rock sliders, and I'm almost certain I got 90% coverage. I'm very happy with the results. I'm not happy with the experience I had, but I'm happy with the results of the product. My plan right now is to let this dry overnight. We'll see what it looks like in the morning. Then I'm going to use one of these Scotch-Brite pads. I'm going to put it on my 4-inch angle grinder. I'm going to clean up all of these areas right here. Once I get the rust converter on all those areas, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to spray with some truck bed liner, and then hopefully that'll be the end of this project. I'll just put it all back together. It's a win so far, but it's also a fail because it was a messy win. But I do feel like we got good coverage. All right, it's the next day and we're at the scene of the accident, and I got good news. Everything is dried and I got something good to show you. So this is the inside of the left-hand slider. And you can see I've got pretty good coverage. I think there's a couple bare spots in there, but I think we do have some pretty good coverage. This is the other slider. You can see we've got some good coverage. It looks like it's a little thin, about right there, about 1.5 feet in on the left or on the right. It's a little bit thin, but overall we got good coverage. I mean, it's a rock hard product. It's not, I mean, it doesn't really feel like paint. So whatever this is, should be pretty durable. So after all the trouble I had yesterday and all the unknowns, and I felt a little bit defeated, quite honestly, I think we're in a good spot. So my plan right now is to clean up the outside. We'll get everything cleaned up. I'm going to use a scuff pad and a wire wheel. I'm going to use some rust converter. We'll let that dry and then we'll spray everything. So let me work on getting things cleaned up. I'll be right back. These actually cleaned up pretty nice. We didn't really grind into them. We just kind of smoothed off the rust, especially here on the edges. I'm going to take some paint thinner, put it on a rag. I'm going to wipe these down. I'm going to use some rust converter, and then I got to let it dry for 24 hours before I top coat. So it looks like tomorrow morning I'll be doing the top coat, which I have this truck bed liner. I don't know how long I've had this truck bed liner. It sounds okay. I might go buy another can of it. Just, you know how I am with cans. All right, that's enough of that nonsense. I got everything wiped down with paint thinner. We're gonna go ahead and use this rust converter on there. I'll put a link in the description. Like I already told you, we gotta let that set for 24 hours before we top coat it. But what I'm gonna do in that 24-hour period, I'm gonna put my fluid film gun in there, and I'm gonna fluid film inside the sliders as well. And then I gotta put the end caps back on. So that's what I'm gonna do with my dry time. Tomorrow morning we'll spray these with truck bed liner. Hopefully they come out good. So these Scotch-Brite wheels, I'll put a link in the description for these as well. They seem to work pretty well. They do wear down pretty quick. And if you don't have an apron on or something, you're gonna get covered in dust from the thing you're sanding and from that wheel. So make sure you wear an apron or something. And then what I'm gonna do is just hit all these rusty bare spots. Make sure we get the ends really good, because that's, after all, where all the problems started. And once we get that taken care of, move on to the next thing. All right, I got my Woolwax gun hooked up, and if you do any kind of wool waxing at all, this is a must-have. I mean, it comes with this hose, but there's also just a nozzle that goes on the end here, and what a difference this makes. My only unknown today is I'm using my little compressor, which is this thing right here. And I've never used that little compressor with this gun, so this may not work, but we're gonna try it. Not ideal.
No.
Shug, I need to buy a bigger compressor.
Okay.
Oop, Echo's got full Woolwax on him now. All right, well that didn't go without incident either, but overall was pretty good. Took me a minute to prime the gun, I guess. Had to kick the compressor up to 125 pounds, which for that compressor, that's a lot. It's too small for what I'm doing with it, but it is working. Because I couldn't reach the whole length, I ended up drilling an extra access hole about midway so that I could spray all the way down to this end. There is some Woolwax in there. I was also able to put the hose in that hole. So I know that this end is done fairly decent. When we look at this end, we can see we've got pretty good Woolwax coverage throughout. I mean, it's hard to tell about the middle, but this one's pretty good. Over here, again, we've got some good coverage throughout. All right, well that went fairly decent, not without issue, but it went fairly decent. I obviously need a bigger compressor, but for today's purposes, worked perfect. I'm done. I'm putting the end caps in. I'm gonna wipe down the outside tomorrow morning. We're spraying the truck bed liner. We'll see you tomorrow morning. It's the next day. We're getting ready to paint. We had to make a change. That truck bed liner I had, not so good. It's in the trash can. So we made a change. We're going with this Rust-Oleum hammered paint. I used it on a trailer video a while back. I've had mixed results with truck bed liner over the years. Some work great, some not. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I just want to get this project done, and that's why I went with the Rust-Oleum hammer paint. And it's got a really good texture. Kind of matches what was there from Jeep, and it's black. And we're gonna just go ahead and give it a spray. I get everything cleaned off. I used some 600 sandpaper this morning, scuffed everything up, wiped everything down with some alcohol, cleaned them up, and they're ready to paint. So we're gonna go ahead and paint them. Dry time 15 minutes, handle time 90 minutes. We're gonna be done with this project momentarily. We'll let those marinate for about 15 minutes or so. We'll flip them, do another coat. Coat number 2. Let's flip them over. We'll paint this side. Okay, more of the same. All right, what was going to be a 30-minute to maybe 1-hour project has morphed into a 3-day extravaganza that took nearly 4 hours, maybe even 5 hours by the time we're all said and done. Anyway, we got the rock sliders reinstalled on the Jeep, and they look fantastic for what they are. The Jeep's got 105,000 miles on it, so it's not a spring chicken. We were able to give these rock sliders a new lease on life, and they turned out really great. We're pretty happy with them. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you. You are better than most, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. Thanks for watching.